This should bother you. What a great way to start a segment. Man, if it doesn't, I think you might be hopeless, but let's give it a chance. Look, there are a lot of frivolous laws that are created by your political heroes. This is a state that has mastered the concept of laws about feelings and rage that have no purpose whatsoever. We have a Texas legislature that is just finishing up on any number of ways to make laws about transgendered athletes. So there's that. Now, if you want to argue and write it off, and I think most sensible people hear about many of these frivolous, pointless laws, and you just go on about your day because you have a life. And you just assume that's what lawmakers do. They're just throwing red meat out there. It doesn't affect you. Fair enough. No one would blame you for that. We also live in a time when people in office, and I would say there is a connection here. This is not the average person blowing it off. We live in a time when people in office like to scream, and so does their voting base scream, freedom of speech on media platforms. You hear it often. Jeff, how could you be against freedom of speech? Shut your face. Look what I do for a living. Okay? I get it. But this is that time. It is the media play of the day. It is the political play of the day, and that is freedom of speech. We should be able to say what we want, where we want, how we want, right? No, but the pathetic part is those screams usually come from lawmakers that like to say, keep the government out of your life. There's such a disconnect here. People of Texas need to be very worried. And I'm going to tell you, people of Texas, thinking reasonable people of Texas. Let me qualify it. I think even those that don't think need to be terrified and worried. The reason why you need to be terrified and worried in Texas, and you're saying, but this happened in Florida, and the reason why I need to be terrified in Texas is that whatever happens in Florida is going to happen here, and whatever law is proposed here is going to be proposed in Florida. We're copying each other at the lawmaker level. Whatever the governor of Florida is proposing and saying, the governor of Texas needs to propose and match, because the two of them, on a battle of authoritarian playmakers of the day, they both act like they want to be president of the United States if and when Donald Trump can't be. That's why you need to be concerned. So whatever happens there, Texans, is going to happen here. Whatever happens here is going to happen there, because they're going to copy each other. I used to call it the Mussolini Cup, but it really offended people. But I don't think I'm that far off. In fact, I even think using the term Mussolini is not crazy at all when you hear about this. I don't think it's crazy at all. In fact, I think it fits perfectly when you hear about what I'm about to say. I have not heard of a more disturbing, sinister bill than this. We hear a lot about frivolous bills that are going nowhere. I may be an audience of one that complains about them, but they really aren't going to affect you. They really don't matter much. This one does. I've not heard of anything more sinister than this, honestly. This is the start of this is terrifying enough. Okay, the start of it is terrifying enough. The fact that someone like this, that offered this, is getting elected and probably going to get reelected is beyond disturbing. Okay, the fact that somebody is not jumping up and down already, any thinking human being is not jumping up and down already and saying, get that person out of office now. What's worse? There are plenty of people that like this. I can read it to you in detail. And if you're not disturbed by this, I really got to tell you, you are hopeless. I don't like to do that thing, go move somewhere else, but there are governments around the world that fit your kind of thinking. If you like this, there is a place where you get this kind of thinking. There are plenty of people that like this stuff. That's all I can think about is some of you like this. They're the same people usually screaming about free speech. I'd love to say this is a joke, but it's not a joke. Florida bill would require that bloggers who write about Ron DeSantis and other officials register with the state of Florida or face fines. Let me read it to you exactly how it is presented. I didn't make this up. A Florida lawmaker has proposed a bill that would require bloggers who write about Governor Ron DeSantis or other elected officials will need to register with the state or face fines. The legislation proposed by State Senator Jason Brodeur, Brodeur, a Republican, would require that the bloggers disclose how much they're being paid for their posts. Can I do the obvious? I think it's obvious. I hope it's obvious. Surely if you have an ounce of freedom in your body, why? Why? I dare anyone to make an argument for this. I really do. I dare you. I dare you. I mean, I would like to say I can't believe this is happening, but it's happening from the very people that would turn around and scream at Facebook and say freedom. Oh, okay. Under the terms of the bill, if a blogger posts to a blog about an elected state officer and receives or will receive compensation for that post, the blogger must register with the appropriate office within 5 days after the post by which the blogger mentions an elected state officer. That's in quotes because that's the law. That's not made up. We're not paraphrasing. That is a proposed freaking law. You register with the appropriate office. Can I raise my hand? In which appropriate office is that, Mussolini? Holy cow. They're serious. Look out, Texas. Look out. Okay, so then it goes on. It also requires that bloggers file monthly reports if a post is added to the blog. The reports must disclose the individual or entity that provided compensation for the blog post, the amount of the compensation, the date of the blog posts, and the website and website address. I know you should be thinking right now, or what? Fair question. Fines are set at $25 per day per report for each day, not to exceed $2,500. I don't know what the registration cost is to register your opinion with the government. I don't know what that costs. I assume it's not free. I got an office. We're creating an office for this, Mussolini. So, I doubt that's free. To get your stamp, I register with the government before I shared my opinion stamp. That one. I'll bet you this dude thinks Facebook is censoring people, too. What a jackass. What a terrible, diabolical, sinister thing to propose. And the fact is, people like this stuff. Oh, my. Well, I guess start the countdown until we do it here. Would this include talk shows? I just want to know. Or certain kinds of talk shows. The kind that are okay with the government. The bill applies to bloggers who write about the governor, lieutenant governor, a cabinet officer, or any member of the state legislature. Come on, Jeff. No, not come on, Jeff. No, there you go. I just read it straight up. It's pretty well widely reported, and it's not. And you know what? A lot of people aren't bothered by it. They really aren't. Okay, so what do we do here? Exactly what office would I register with every single day? What office would that be? What would it be called? I'm going to guess the rest of this is pretty simple, and that is an office run by whom? Would that be like the Attorney General of the state of Texas, Ken Paxton? Would he be running this office? The righteous guy. Would he be in charge of this? So the office is run by whom that I have to register with? Would talk shows apply? I would think that they would. I mean, it's not that different than the spoken word space is not that different than whatever a blogger is. So should I assume I get my media opinion certification from the government? I would need to be approved. Can we assume it's an appointed position that this office that approves these things that you have to register with? I'm going to bet money the intent is for that person to be appointed by the governor. What do you think? It's the same governor who might be president, by the way, who also created an election police force that answers to him. So the appointed person is going to be the one running the office of which you get your opinion pieces certified. Can I guess that person answers to the governor. I'm in the spoken word space, so I'm inherently biased, right? But if this doesn't disturb you, you're a dangerous person. Okay? I mean, it's just the fact that somebody, I know we're going to go, well, it's not going anywhere. I don't know that. I heard a guy propose. I heard a man who's the governor of a state propose an election police task force paid for by the taxpayers who only answer to him. So I'm not going to laugh off anything anymore. We have a Mussolini streak because we have a Mussolini group of supporters. But this is, I'd love to say be careful what you ask for, but I know that most of the people in charge of these sort of fascist-like things are appointed by someone else. So you really isn't everybody in the opinion space needs to be worried. That's not true at all. It's only certain opinions need to be worried. It's the most disturbing thing, again, maybe because I'm inherently biased because I'm in the space. But if I challenge anybody, anywhere, anytime, to try to work really hard to justify this, I'd love to hear I'd love to hear you work at it. Under what circumstance? And which talk shows have to register also? Is that every single day? I mean, just imagine the thinking that went into proposing this law. Imagine that thinking. That should disturb you on the front end. I mean, I would hope that it doesn't become law. If it does, it's challenged and thrown out. But people running for office, the two of these guys running for the presidency, if Donald Trump is not running, they don't care about if it's legally justifiable. They don't care about anything else except winning the brownie points with a bunch of fascists, in my opinion. But the idea that somebody, any time in this country's history, but particularly now, would be proposing this is unbelievable. It really is. It makes our transgendered athlete bill look like a throwaway.